Welcome back to the Lost in Stupidity podcast. I'm your host, Turner the Burner. I'm joined by Chris the Boz Bozeman.
All right, brother. Good to be here.
We are also joined by Will Hillbilly Howard.
Hello, darling.
And we have Bailey Joe Hickman once again. Guys, we got the whole crew here. Woohoo!
Full house.
This is, this might be bad. I don't know if this much stupidity can be lost all in one place.
This is a super small room,
This
brother.
is this is like a nuclear reactor on the verge of going code red.
Full Chernobyl.
Full Chernobyl
Of stupidity.
Hey, believe it or not, Chernobyl's going to come up in another podcast. There's a teaser. But
Dun, dun, dun.
guys, how we doing today? It's good to actually have the whole gang, the whole team on the field today. We're operating with a full roster.
Absolutely.
Man, I'll say this. I had 2 cups of coffee this morning. So that is
Brother came prepared.
A lot better than, yes, it was. A lot better than one, but not quite as good as having a Bang energy drink.
I had my coffee enema this morning.
Oh, boy. That's exciting.
Oh.
Do you
Full Liver King.
Full Liver King.
I was about to say,
go full Liver King.
do you feel the need to lie about your steroid use on the internet now?
Maybe.
I was gonna
Maybe
say-
about my military service, too, while I had it.
And we're all
Stolen Liver King.
yeah.
Stolen liver.
I had a breakfast of a Ghost energy drink, and I'm somehow not as wired as y'all two.
Sometimes stupidity comes naturally to us.
So before we get started, well, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna talk about the Rick and Bubba show, the famous nationally syndicated radio show that most of us grew up listening to. But before we get into that, we're gonna do a bit of housekeeping, and I thought, you know, this is the kind of segment you would have heard on the Rick and Bubba show, so I feel the need to apologize, guys. So we got a group text for those of you that don't know, and we kind of try to keep the staff on the same page. So I like to think of us guys as kind of a team. I'm like the head coach, and like Will's like that defensive end or that offensive tackle is bringing the energy. And
I was thinking
I'm the
like
water boy.
Yeah, I was thinking like a goon in hockey.
well, same thing. Bringing that in, he's the goon. We got Bailey. He's like that savvy linebacker running the defense. We got Chris as a quarterback. I can't do it without y'all. Y'all are the team. But ultimately, I have to get y'all ready, and I didn't have the team ready to play. I'm gonna take responsibility. This is a post game press conference. I didn't have y'all ready to play. So in the group chat, well, let me back up. My luck. Does your wife listen to this podcast?
Maybe.
Your wife listens to this podcast?
I don't know. She barely listens to me.
Why would I listen to a recording? I have it at home all the time.
Chris, does Alana listen to this podcast?
I don't even know if she knows what we're doing in here. But
Oh, fair enough.
she listens. She listens. But
I'm on my day job, which is a night job, and like 10 o'clock at night. Now, let me set the stage here for our audience. We have a group chat, and the plan is typically when we get together to podcast, our better halves come and our children come and play and whatever. And Bailey offered to get us some pizza earlier in the week, and that's in the group chat. And so, but I'm surprised at 10 o'clock at night. My wife, my loving wife, she's so wonderful.
Put as many caveats in there as you need
My
to.
wonderful,
prep
beautiful,
yourself well, brother.
beautiful,
Otherwise-
loving, sweet wife.
You're going to be sleeping in this studio tonight.
So hang on. So Bailey's wife, Jewel, is asking my wife, who is now asking me, how many people are coming so they know how much pizza to buy. And I said, well, I assume everyone's coming. But doesn't Bailey's in the group chat and he's buying the pizza. Why is Jewel not asking Bailey? So we go round and round, and so I send at 10 o'clock at night, and I'm slightly flustered. Again, Will Howard, who is also in the group chat, has said nothing that he's got sick children, and oh, by the way, they're not coming. And Chris, see, this is actually, y'all seen Star Wars, like the hologram, and like the Emperor. See, Chris is actually not here because he hasn't answered a group chat since like 2024. So this is a hologram of Chris. He was abducted by Dog Man. We actually don't know.
Yeah. That's true.
Chris's philosophy is like, it's not on fire yet. We're okay. It hasn't burned down yet.
No chaos yet. It's good.
So I'm gonna take.
My
Hey,
man.
I'm sorry. I didn't have y'all ready to play. I didn't have the game plan ready. It
Well,
falls on me. I didn't have y'all ready to play.
It falls on me because my wife could have asked me, sweetie, I love you so much. Please don't mishear me. She could have asked me, but obviously she's very close friends with your wife. So she just assumed that your wife would know. So they went back and forth and never asked me once. But here's my thing. And this all goes back to, I never thought this was a big deal because
Okay, see, we're on the same page of like, why not buy pizza for everybody? And if somebody don't show up, we have extra.
Okay, there you go. This is what I'm thinking. I am getting to quote somebody off of the internet. I think it was one of those guys on TikTok or whatever. It's like, I am going to spare every expense I can. We're getting Little Caesars. I can get as much as you want. I may not be rich, but I can buy 10 Little Caesars pizza. Everybody can have their own pizza. Like, I don't know why this was a big deal.
I'm telling you, man. Hey, the quality, the price ratio of Little Caesars.
It's great.
It's great.
It's there.
I
agree.
perfect.
I will
not getting
throw
no
in
little
the Sam's Club pizza into the mix.
Oh, for sure.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I had that.
Absolutely.
It's bigger. It's only $8.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic.
Now,
No,
now
agreed.
here's where I got myself into trouble. So, as I recall, my beautiful, sweet wife, who's so patient with me and so wonderful, I made the statement, and we're very busy, and things sometimes get lost in the shuffle.
You might say lost in stupidity.
Yeah, my lost in stupidity. I made the statement, hey, Bailey, Jewel wanted to come last time and couldn't. I said, hey, they are in fact going to try and come down and visit with the kids as well. That was the statement, which was taken as Bailey and his family are the only people coming. Now, granted, that means Chris would have had to drop the computer off, which means he would have had to come by at some point, which it doesn't matter. Anyway, back, so now that we got, guys, it's on me. I didn't have y'all ready to play. It's okay. We're 0-1, but we're going to start back next week.
That's right.
We're in so much, I'm in so much trouble.
Yeah, it'd be all right.
Anyway.
That's what the editing stage of podcasting is for right now.
Yeah, none of this makes
You
sense.
see this man over here? Yeah, that and the cooperative energy hat that ain't saying a word. That's the only smart one in here. He's like, I ain't catching a stray bullet.
The stupid just keeps falling out of our mouth.
I'm not. He's like, I ain't catching a stray bullet. I have to go home tonight. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about, if you haven't turned us off already, and if you would, I can't blame you. We're going to talk about Rick and Bubba. There's been a lot of rumors out there about their ending of the show and their split, and there's, again, I hate the internet sometimes. There's so much out there right now of false narratives and rumors of who did what, and they've drawn... We've talked about this before, guys. Drawing a line in the sand. Whoa, now. Easy.
Sorry.
Don't tear apart the studio.
Knocking stuff over.
You can't get on the internet and just draw a line and say, my team's better than your team. So we've got a little bit of insight. We want to talk about that. First, again, this is not... I want to make sure I come across the correct way because I genuinely loved that show, and I love both of these individuals. If you notice, I was influenced by Rick and Bubba so much. We've stolen so much from them on this podcast and YouTube. The things like making a living off low expectations. That's their saying.
I would say tactically acquired.
There you go, tactically acquired. But this is done. The reason I wanted to speak about this is, A, I kind of want to get to the bottom of it, but B, I've just seen a lot of nasty attacks against both of these individuals, and I don't think they're warranted. And so for all the fans out there, maybe we can add a tiny bit of clarity. So for those of you that don't know, The Rick and Bubba Show was a morning radio show. It aired 31 years from 94 to 24, the end of 24, right at 30. It was entering its 31st year. It's hard, unless you grew up around it, unless you're from the Southeast or the Eastern Seaboard, it's hard to tell the audience how big they got. In the early 2000s, like, nationally syndicated, they were getting broadcast out of New York City. They had a deal, a collaboration with the NFL, with the Tennessee Titans. Like, this show got massive. I would put them up there with, like, the Walton and Johnsons or some of these other massive morning shows.
Absolutely.
And they were around, at the same time as Don Imus. I mean, all the shock jockeys and all that, and they had a cleaner version that was family friendly. It was an alternative to some of these guys that you couldn't listen to around your kids.
Exactly.
From the 90s, we all grew up, Rick and Bubba in the morning. I mean, it was
loaded up, headed to school in the morning. That's what was going to be playing in the car.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I feel like even if you didn't listen to the show, you just knew that catch line. Like, they just made that kind of impact.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
Absolutely.
And again, to show you how big they were, fun fact, I want to throw this out there. Like I said, they had an affiliation with the Tennessee Titans. They were actually on the sideline, for you football historians, for the Music City Miracle. Like the famous comeback, the Titans win on the crazy lateral play. They were actually on the field, and if you go back and look at pictures, like they're hugging it out with Coach Fisher and the players. Like, they're in the middle of that. So many celebrities, so many presidents, they had a working relationship with conservative anchor Sean Hannity. They've interviewed and talked to President Trump several times. Here you go, baby, because I've turned you on as a Meatloaf fan now.
Oh, yes.
They were in a terrible B movie with Meatloaf
fantastic.
as extras. The name of the movie was called Rustin, about a high school football player.
This just sounds like a fever dream of a movie.
Meatloaf and Rick and Bubba.
That's the movie that came on after facing the Giants.
Right.
I'll tell you one also they were in, which I did not realize was a very terribly done. Had great messages. Don't get me wrong. With from Max Lucado's ministry called Hermie, about a little caterpillar.
You're right.
And there were two,
right. The little car, the animated.
Yeah, a little animated. It was a VeggieTales knockoff.
Right.
And it had Rick and Bubba in it as like the sideline announcers for whatever was going on.
You're right.
And it was entertaining, and they were the best part of it, to be honest. Well, them and Don Knotts. Don Knotts, before he passed away, was in it. Old Barney Fife.
That's right. So, point being, such a huge show. So at the beginning of 2023, kind of all of a sudden, they announced that they would, at the end of the year, that they would be discontinuing the Rick and Bubba Show. And if you go back and watch the interviews, Rick's doing most of the talking. There's a bit of solemnness, reverence in both of their faces. And it started to raise a lot of questions. It seemed kind of sudden. And as the year went on, Rick was adamant about, we're going to spend the last year honoring the Rick and Bubba Show. We're going to throw it back to the old days. We're not going to talk about who's doing what. Neither one of us are retiring, but I don't want to talk about that. I want to honor my partner, Bill Bubba Bussey, and honor the show. Well, to complicate things, in probably June of 23, as I recall, AL.com leaked that Rick Burgess would be continuing solo with his own radio show called The Rick Burgess Show. This is the start of a lot of the rumors and the what's going on, and he's kicking Bubba to the curb, and this looks bad. That started the rumor mill going. So to this point, here's what's happened. They are now, Rick did continue. He kept his brother and some of the other guys on staff, and they have continued with the Rick Burgess Show, and that is airing to date. Bill Bubba Bussey is now the I forget his official title. He's over the media and like an assistant athletic director.
I think it's like athletic media director.
There you go. Athletic media director for Jackson State University, his alma mater. And he has also launched a podcast with his son, Bubba on the Lake. Now, here's where we get into the nitty gritty. All the YouTube warriors in the comments and everybody talking. First of all, I have to point out some fault. There wasn't a lot of clarity. And again, we don't know all the details, but this is the problem when you are a public figure. You're so famous, and people have grew up with your family. You know, when you do something 30 years in the public eye, you know, your kids were little, they'd just been born as you started, and now they're adults. So we've grown with you, and the lack of clarity, I got to put the blame on them a little bit. It generates a rumor mill. And we've seen this a couple times in conservative media. Bailey, do you want to touch on that? I know there was a situation with AFR, I believe.
Yeah. So another situation, and I'm not. I do want to make kind of a little bit of a clearing the room statement. We're not trying to do this to just continue the gossip and rumor mill.
Oh no, not at all.
The point of this is to go, hey, you do have some accountability being a person in media. Especially, like you said, doing this for 30 years. AFR, for those of you who don't know, American Family Radio, started in the 70s as a ministry. It was wildly successful. It is still wildly successful. And I'm not knocking AFR. I like a lot of what they do. They really focus on spreading the gospel. They really focus on family-centric things. But multiple times with them over the last 10 years, they have booted host for no apparent reason, or they have given basically a small statement and said, thanks for being here. And then the host will come back later and say, guys, we don't really even know what happened. And when you build a following, I do think you owe people an explanation. One example is Brian Fisher. I'm not going to get into too much of his background. He was a controversial character. I do believe he was a Christian. I believe he was trying to spread the gospel. He was controversial. He said some things maybe weren't very loving, and but those things weren't cited. They stood by him during the things that made him controversial, and then in 2021, AFR just stopped it, and he had a huge show at 1:00, been on for 10 plus years. And obviously people were fans of his, and they said, hey man, where's he going? And all they would say is, we don't want to gossip.
Well, don't gossip. Just tell us.
Well, and that's the problem. By not saying anything, you're creating gossip.
You're creating gossip. And also, it's not gossip when you are broadcasting this. You've broadcast everybody's business. You broadcast their business, your mama's business, your cousin's business.
We look, and me and my wife have talked about it. I've talked about it with some of y'all in here at one time or another. When you start doing stuff like this, when you are on a radio show, when you're an actor, when you're doing a podcast, when you're on a YouTube channel, we signed up for that. We signed up for the negative comments. We signed up for everybody wanting to know our business. Like, nobody held a gun to our head and said,
but anyway, I think continue. You do owe, like you said, that it's kind of like this is your customer.
Yeah.
Obviously.
You're providing a service.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you take the Big Mac off the menu, we'd all like to know. Why we tried
You'd
Big
like
Mac.
to know why.
Yeah, because everybody liked the Big Mac. Like, why are we getting rid of the Big Mac? So it would help to say, hey, here's the reason why and all that. They also had another very popular show called Airing the Addisons. And I want to point them out specifically because they said nothing. They didn't even say, hey, we don't want to gossip, but their show is ending. They said nothing about it. Will and Mickey Addison are a married couple who had a show, and they were with AFR for 9 years. So much so that Will had actually been ahead of one of their divisions, a whole division of radio stations directed at like inner city ministry that AFR had done. This guy was managing it well. and they had a show together as a married couple talking about, Christianity in the modern day and how to raise children in a God-honoring way. Fantastic. I loved that show. Fantastic. Again, family-centered. All they could say, they've gone out on their own now and have a podcast called Culture Proof, which I highly recommend. They basically said AFR separated with us and we don't know why. And we wish we could tell you more. We're still friends with some people there, but we were basically asked to leave. Nothing else. And AFR had no statement as to why they were leaving. And I don't understand that, because you had such a popular show with people that were like, hey, this is important to me. My children are important to me. My family is important to me. And those people were speaking directly about that.
Yeah.
And then you end that, people are going to be questioning you, upset at you. And I'm going to be honest, for me, again, I don't have any shade against AFR by any means.
Sure.
But it does kind of put a bad taste in your mouth.
It does.
And they're going to wonder why numbers are down. They're going to wonder why
Correct.
they're losing people.
But you say that, but I see, I wondered, do they really? Because big corporations keep doing stupid stuff like this.
Do they even realize?
Like, do y'all not have a team or a data department or something? Like, hey, by the way, if we lay off this show that gets a lot of attention, we better have a good reason, because, like you said, we're taking the Big Mac off the menu, and a lot of people like the Big Mac.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, I will say this, my last example, again, and you can see this, and guys, we're specifically talking about people that claim to be Christians.
Yeah.
Because, again, we've talked about before, we're all Christians in this room, and it matters to us. We are in this space. We are in the media space. We, find it interesting. We're all on a podcast, so obviously we find it interesting to some degree. But we all, it does matter to us, because as the body of Christ, we care about what's being put out, and we care about, how you present yourself. We talked about that like on the Tim Kennedy stuff of, if you say you're this, we care how you conduct yourself, because you can't say this and then do some scummy, crummy things.
You were held to a higher standard when you put yourself in that way.
And we're not saying you have to be perfect. We're all sinners.
Right.
But absolutely.
I do think you owe people an explanation. And the example that I have real quick is that I think was done well.
This is how you do it.
I think this was done well, was Scott and Kelly from K-Love. K-Love doesn't really dive into anything deep or anything. It's just Christian music. And hey, there's a place for that. I've turned on K-Love just to have music.
Oh, yeah. People love cringy Christian music.
There you go.
They eat it up, man.
And release the highway.
I mean, coming from experience, I know.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Look, I'm guilty of it. I enjoy it sometimes. I can't listen to Screamo rock all the time, which I do enjoy as well. That being said, Scott and Kelly were with K-Love for 15 years on their morning show. They had an amiable decision mutual decision to end the show, to be replaced. They stayed with the network, K-Love. Scott currently does the midday shift, and Kelly does the overnight shift, something that K-Love hadn't done before, because they were like, hey, we want people to be able to call in overnight. That's a great idea. Man, do you know how many truckers are driving overnight and pick up a station? I have heard testimony through places like AFR and K-Love of people coming to Christ because they were driving in the middle of the night and got to listen to the gospel being shared overnight on a local radio station. So I think that is effective. I think that's great. But they acknowledge, like, hey, this is a bittersweet moment. We are so thankful for each other for being radio host. And they said, for us personally, this is the time to end the show because our schedules are changing in our personal lives, and we love working the radio. We're going to continue working the radio, but it seemed very amiable. They both were on a Facebook video and a couple other, media videos saying, hey, here's what we're doing. We're joint together doing this. We've agreed to do this. It just didn't seem like behind the back or skeevy, if that makes sense.
Sure. Absolutely. So, excuse me. Going back to Rick and Bubba. So we're going to let you know kind of where we're at now. In a nutshell, and both of them have said this, and both of them have been very open. If you will, call their work phone or email them, they will gladly, they have both said this publicly, they will gladly give you their side of the story. Now, again, I wish they'd have been a little more upfront, But what I'm about to say is, and kind of, again, we're not gossiping. If you're thinking there's some juicy, scandalous thing going on, you're going to be disappointed. But again, I'm going to give you the facts. But they have both been open about, hey, we'll tell you. Just reach out to us. But here's what's happened. In a nutshell, the Rick and Bubba show changed, and it started. And again, I've listened. For those of you that don't know, I started. Like, we all grew up around it. We heard it in the background since we were children. You know, we all knew the jingle when we were 6, 7 years old. I've listened to them consistently, and by that I mean daily, since I entered JUCO in 2012. So I've consumed a lot of Rick and Bubba. And when there was a big current event or something, they always covered it. You know, there was, again, they were on air when 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
Elections, anything, they would touch on that, but it was a comedy family show. They were always talking about their lives, their kids.
I love the Lou Holtz impersonator.
The Lou Holtz, oh my goodness. When they would do the football, oh my goodness. What do you think, Coach? The Alabama Crimson Tide, they will beat Florida by 146 to -8. He can just go so many things, so many skits.
But your point is that they weren't a political.
They
podcast.
weren't. That's where I'm going, and I've seen this be the death of so much media. When COVID happened, they hit. COVID, and we are not a political podcast. I do not want to get into that. We made that decision when we started this. All of the current events surrounding COVID and George Floyd and that presidential election and all that, Rick and Bubba changed, and they had been on that track to a full-bore news and political commentary. And again, I don't want to get into our political views and what we consume news-wise. That's not what this show is for. But there is a news show that me and Bailey watch somewhat regularly. And it was funny. The Rick and Bubba show got to where I would listen to them in the morning, and everything they had commented on and covered, I would hear again on the political talk show.
Yeah.
They became
almost like identical.
Almost
like y'all had the same show notes.
And
hey, bro, can I copy your homework? Sure, just change it a little bit.
Well, and here's what happened. So, in doing that, Rick always made the comment, because over the years, when you do something that long, you ask, hey, how will y'all hang it up? And he always made the comment, I never want the show to become a parody of itself. I don't. And when that happens, it's time to hang it up. And I really didn't understand what that meant. And it's kind of like the frog in boiling water. You watch something for so long and it's so gradual you don't notice it. But there's some gentleman out there that you could tell it was on VCR, old clips from the Rick and Bubba show when they were on Turner South from the early 2000s. And Rick and Bubba, they got a lot of view on YouTube, and Rick and Bubba saw it like, hey, somebody has collected all this old footage. And so they would share it or play it on air. And when you saw that side by side of the height of Rick and Bubba to what it had become, and you like,
it's not even the same.
There's no energy.
Yeah.
It's flat.
Yeah.
It's all going through the motions. It's all politics. And you almost didn't notice it. And before I get into that, whether you agree with the way it was done or whatever side you want to pick in this, Rick was right. The show was on its last leg.
Yeah.
It didn't look like it, but there was an energy loss, and it wasn't funny anymore. And
it was like it became an imitation of itself as opposed to like the original. You said, man, it was like a jump start for the day. You listen to it in the car to wherever you're going, like, man, I'm amped, I'm primed, I'm ready to socialize, communicate, take things in, because these guys got me jump started for the day.
And you never knew what they were going to talk about.
Yeah. Not a clue.
Yeah.
It was always good.
Yeah, and I've seen this, and that's why I don't want to fall into this trap. when you get into that political space, it's just so toxic and it's so nauseating and it's just a grind. And if that's all you do, it just sucks the life out of you. And even if I don't even want to dabble in it because, again, Rick and Bubba, and there's some other examples out there too. You look at it and they go, well, we're just going to dabble in this because everybody else does because it's cool. It gets we owe it to society. We need to put our 2 cents in.
No, there's plenty of people doing it.
And when you exactly, and
I'm here to laugh, man.
and when you do that, it just grows. Like you can't help it. You just once you're in that space, it kind of takes over the whole show.
Well, and being in that space, you have to be in that space 24/7. Like we live
exactly.
CNN is on air 24/7 and has been for 15 years. Like
yeah.
Fox News, whoever you follow, I don't care.
Yeah,
whoever you follow, they're doing it 24/7. Even like independent people. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you compare them to the 90s. Another guy in the 90s, Rush Limbaugh.
Sure,
he's passed away now.
Yeah.
But Rush Limbaugh was there to do the news and to be the political commentator.
Exactly.
He didn't change. But when you're focused on comedy and like, hey man, we've got this cool show, gets everybody excited, we laugh, I laughed, I cried, it moved me, Bob. Like, to quote VeggieTales, you have a mission and then you've changed gears and you've gotten into an area where to me it would be like, all right, I am the PE coach at a middle school. Today, we're going to play basketball. Tomorrow, we're going to play dodgeball. The next day, we're going to do a sack race. I'm going to stop that. Or actually, I'm going to say I'm keeping doing that, but I'm going to go over to the high school, and I'm going to be the head defensive football coach.
Yeah.
Can you change gears back and forth and do a good job at either one? And I think
you can't.
You wind up doing a poor job at both.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And so that took place. And Rick has openly said, it was my decision. The way their contract was set up, either one of them could quit at any time. It was either one of them had the option to say, hey, I'm done. And that was it. And Rick said, I couldn't talk about politics anymore. I couldn't talk about current events anymore. I wanted to go to comedy. Bubba, on the other hand, has embraced the political space, and he's good at that. And that,
there's nothing
wrong with that. But that's ultimately what happened, and since then, it's just become really divisive of, Rick, I've got some quotes. Because people are just saying, people are looking at this and listening to us right now going, oh, you're just repeating what we already know. Now, here's some quotes. So this was from the, I wish I wrote it down. We generalize a lot on this podcast, don't we?
The thing.
The thing. No, this is the 18th.
The thing with the thing.
It's I think it's whatever the date that Alabama was founded. It's the 18-something podcast. I don't remember. Anyway, they were interviewing him, and he said, and I have the quote here, there was no way we could continue with what we were doing financially, but I'm not going to hide behind that. Ultimately, it was my decision. And that's the only time I've heard him say that. But if you watch the Rick and Bubba show, they've moved studios again. They weren't big as they were. They went to a tiny studio. They cut staff. They quit doing interns.
Wow, they always had an intern.
And now if you look at the new Rick Burgess show, it's in that same studio. It's nice. It's professional looking. Especially compared to us. But
I like our shed.
It's
shed. Nice. It's cozy. Don't talk bad about my shed. Your shed.
On how this
our
episode
shed,
started.
comrade.
On how this episode started, you could be sleeping out here, brothers.
Yeah. Hey, at least there's AC now.
Yeah.
But point being, it seems like that there's been from the outside looking in, there was huge budget cuts. And that played into, that was going to be an issue as well. There was, even if they had continued, and Bubba has been very vocal, he wanted to keep going. He was happy with where it was. He was happy talking about politics and current events. He was not ready to end it, and he wanted to ride it into the dirt, and then we'll figure it out when we figure it out. Something will happen. And Rick did not want to do that. So that has caused a bit of friction between them. I mean, And Bubba, his quote, multiple times, I gave you the Rick quote. The only thing that he has said publicly, I know Bailey's got a quote his wife said. The only thing that he has said is, "I was not fine. It hurt me financially. I was not in a position to retire, and I haven't been quiet about that. Was not in a good position for this to end. It has hurt me financially."
Oh, buddy.
We'll touch on that in a second.
Let me go, Coach. Let me go.
So here's what I want to say before I get into some comments that were made by other people.
Just quit being poor.
Well,
It's that easy.
thank you, Dave Ramsey.
Sell the car, sell so much stuff you think the kids are next.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave.
And back to Dave.
Have you thought about working 80 hours a week?
Oh, good gracious.
Get the 15-year mortgage. Get the 15-year mortgage. Get the 15-year mortgage.
Oh, goodness. So, guys, again, I've listened to a lot of Rick and Bubba. Here's what you need to know. And again, I don't know either one of them personally. Rick started something called the Man Church. It is a men's directed Sunday school curriculum specifically for men. That's been going on over 10 years. It is blown up.
And it is very good, by the way.
Or let me back that up. His Bible study has been going on 10 years or more. His curriculum started in 2020. Let me fix that. But anyway, point being, there are dozens of fellow believers in positions of authority or however you want to say it, that work and are friends with Rick Burgess. There are dozens and dozens of people through churches, charity organizations, political figures, whoever that are friends and work with Bill Bubba Bussey. This is a simple case of two guys just couldn't agree. It's really no more simple. It's really no more complicated. They're two really close friends that had been together so long and they just couldn't agree. But neither one of them stabbed the other in the back. Neither one of them did anything heinous that I can see, because there's too many other people involved with them. Somebody would have called them out on it. Somebody would have said something. Nobody has said anything other than your YouTube jockeys and your keyboard warriors on YouTube and on, what was that?
Don't lose your train of thought.
To the town of Iowa. Thanks for stranger one fine day. Hardly spoke to folks around him, didn't have too much to say. No one dared to ask his business, no one dared to make a slip. Stranger there among them had a big iron on his hip. Big iron on his hip.
Gracious. All right. In the town. Texas radio. Sorry.
Anyway, you guys are ridiculous. Anyway,
Are you ready?
back to Marty Robbins.
And we're back. We had a technical difficulty. We're back live.
Sadly, y'all missed the Marty Robbins concert.
Sadly, you missed Bailey and Will singing Big Iron. But anyway, there's just too many hands in the cookie jar. There's too many people that are respected, that are involved with both these people. Somebody would have said something. You know, if there was something heinous, if there was, it was, Rick booted Bubba so he could get a raise or something that it's just not true.
Yeah,
and all this
doesn't seem to be anything nefarious or malicious against one to the other.
Yeah.
It's just two people wanting to row on the same side of the canoe. And you know what happens? You go in circles.
There you go. That's
like
really
a one-winged dove.
Sorry. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I just tried to figure out what that was. It's like, that only fly in circles. Man, it'd be great at a dove field, though.
But now here's some things. So before I get into that, guys, lay off. YouTube warriors, keyboard warriors, just lay off.
Get a life, nerd.
Yeah, right.
Go outside. Touch grass, nerd. Go outside.
We ain't got time for your useless chime-ins. But guys, I know. I'm getting political again. I know there's been a lot of conspiracy theories that may or may not have turned out to be right.
No, just about every single one of them.
But guys, there's not a conspiracy theory everywhere. There is something called balance. There's not. I don't think there's a conspiracy here. I really don't. It's really cut and dry, and all this is being fueled by the toxicness of social media.
I mean, people can't simply grasp, what is it, Occam's razor?
There you go.
The simplest solution. The simplest answer is probably the solution.
There you go. Now, I will be critical just a bit of. I know, Bailey, you listen to it. You want to talk about it?
Yes. Yes, I do.
I have listened to both shows because I like both of these gentlemen, and I respect both of them. However, anytime Bubba and his ventures are brought up on the Rick Burgess show, Rick says, we are thankful for the past, we are thankful for everything that Bubba did, and we wish him nothing but the best in anything he does. I hope I hope our I hope our show does well. I hope his podcast does well. We wish him nothing but the best. And he has said that over and over and over again when people call in. I have also heard a couple times people call in or do emails to Bubba's show. And instead of maybe vetting these crazies out, because I'm sure they've called both shows, or Bubba has either played the voice messages or read them, and there has been comments like, I tried listening to Rick's show, and it just ain't the same without you, Bubba. It's just garbage. It's just straight garbage. And Bubba's response be, yeah, well, that happens. And there's a clear bit of saltiness there, and that seems to be very one-sided. And I get it. Y'all are having a disagreement. I was a little shocked by that. I'm a little... Rick gets painted as the more unprofessional one of the two because, again, Bubba being involved actively a little more in politics. I was shocked by that. That I didn't really care for that.
I'm not bad, but I'm disappointed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but but also they were on a podcast. Betty Bussy, Bubba's wife, made a comment. Do you want to touch on that, Bailey?
Yeah, and the reason I bring this up is that I don't know, man. Be all in or be all out, because again, I don't think there's anything super secret conspiracy of Rick wanted to build the next pyramids and call the aliens down, and Bubba didn't. Like, I don't think that happened.
Oh, man.
It was aliens, believe me. That being said, they've been kind of tight-lipped about the exact reason why or why not. But on, I think it was the second or third episode of Bubba on the Lake, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I listened to a handful of them, and I'm kind of on the opposite of that comment. I didn't really like it. Personally, it wasn't my cup of tea. More power to him. Hey, man, he's getting sponsored by like Coca-Cola and stuff. Like, he's obviously getting money from it.
Yeah.
More power to you. I'm not
knocking it. Not knocking
it. If people like it, more power to him. But he had his wife on, and the comment was made. He said, Bubba had said, we might talk about stuff that happened in the past, and I might give my side of it, but we're also going to talk about stuff in the future. And he kind of left it at that. Well, then he had his wife on, and his wife was like, I've been very frustrated over the last year and been very upset. And as soon as Bubba wants to, I'll talk about it and I'll tell y'all what really happened. Essentially, that's not the exact quote, but
yeah, paraphrasing a bit.
That's what it came down to. And to me, it's like, okay. I mean, be all in or be all out. If you say that it's worth, we'll do that on a future episode. Is that just a tease of like, hey, keep listening and maybe we'll talk about it? Or do you feel like you actually have something to say? Which if you do, say it. Don't hide behind the idea of, we'll talk about it eventually. Man, if you're frustrated, I don't know. I would rather y'all get it out. But
there was a gentleman that told me one time, and I've never forgot this, bad news don't get better with age.
It doesn't. But also, I would hope that if you have a gripe with Rick and Bubba personally between themselves, I hope they go to coffee and resolve it.
Sure.
Instead of, Rick saying kind of on his side, hey, best of luck to you guys. We wish all the best. And then Bubba saying, well, yeah, either omitting saying anything when people say the Rick show is trash, or saying, yeah, you'll have that. It'll be like that when I leave, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me you would preferred him to have a Christian approach to it? You have a grievance with your brother, you go directly to him?
Yes.
Preach.
And then if
It's
it's
almost like what you want him to do?
There's almost like there's a set of directions for this.
and then if the grievance isn't resolved, you take another brother that has witnessed it and y'all go together. And then if that is not resolved, then you take a member of the church, a leader in the church, and go. It's almost like that would be the better option to me than going on your podcast and saying, well, here's what I think. And
That's a pretty good idea.
and
I might have to get that Bible a read sometime.
And I'll say this. If they, in fact, did that, which we don't know, but
True.
doesn't
They
look
could've
like
done that.
But if they, in fact, done that, then you need to, again, keep your mouth shut.
then
Or just
bury
say
the
it.
hatchet.
Or just say it. Or bury the hatchet.
It's either all in or all out. That's all I'm asking for. If there's something that, Miss Bubba is concerned about, then great, get it out. But I don't ever like, and I'll say this, you guys may not have done this, and that's fine. However, I'm not talking about you guys here in the room, I'm talking about listeners. But like, I'll just give the example of me and my wife.
Mhm.
We've been married 6 years now, and in the first year of marriage, I remember one day I called into work. I had a personal day, so I could, but we were of the mindset, we both were when we got married, that we will not let things come between us. We will hash this out. It will happen. I can remember a day when something was up with her. She did not want to talk about it. I thought we needed to talk about it. And it was a rift for like 3 hours, because at that time I was working in the afternoon. So, we were up at like 9 in the morning, and I went to work at 2. And up till like 1 o'clock, she's like, I need to talk to you about it, but I don't want to. I need to talk to you about it, but I don't want to. And I was like, cool, I'm calling into work. I'll take a personal day. We're hashing this out now. This needs to be resolved now. Not because I'm the big bad man and I need to have things done right. It's because I care about you, because I love my wife, because my relationship matters with her. My friendships matter. Me and Turner, we've had conversations where we're like, hey, we need to talk about this. We're at odds, and we need to address it.
You do anything with anybody long enough, you will get to that point.
Yeah, me and Will.
Can't relate. No, everybody gets along with me. I just
Obviously. I mean,
I don't know about y'all.
You're so easy to get along with.
I'm so not confrontational. I don't.
And again, I'm not trying to just drag Bubba and his
I'm
wife.
humbled too, by the way.
He's
yeah.
If you've ever met a
Incredibly.
humble person, they're not as humble as Will.
Exactly.
But that's, and again, I'm not trying to just drag them, but I don't like that of like,
No.
well, I have something, but I'm not going to talk about
It's
it.
distasteful.
It's distasteful. And I'm going to back up one quick thing, because again, you got me started off. You lit the firecracker. Here it is.
Oh, he's loose.
When you say, okay, Lord forgive me, I don't need to be just a jerk. But when you say, I'm going to go back to being a jerk. When you say, hey, I can't retire. I've been working.
Okay.
Oh,
See,
yeah,
I've been
bad.
waiting on that one.
For 30 years, you've been working.
As a celebrity. I
As
like
a
that.
celebrity, you went to NASCAR races to call the races.
Yep.
You've been part of the NFL. You've had movie deals, TV deals. I don't care if they were small or big or whatever.
You had 2 houses.
You had 2 houses. Okay, the title of your podcast is Bubba on the Lake, insinuating, and you say, hey, guys, I'm here at my lake house. To quote Tim Allen, you have a lake house? Well, let me ask Mr. Dave Ramsey. If I have 2 houses and I can't afford both of them, what should I do, Dave?
You're going to sell one of them.
And live in the other.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. I hate
And he did do that, but also it's like, again, I don't know these people personally, but just the perception is, oh, it's just so hard, and guys, I'm sorry. And again, I hope I'm not in that position, but
Don't go off seeking pity whenever you've lived 30 years in the spotlight.
when you've been 30 years in the, again, you're in your 60s, you've done this for 30 years. I'm sorry. I don't feel sorry for you. Like,
No,
you're not ready for retirement? That's
there's
your
people-
fault.
That's your fault. You're
There's
living
people-
outside of your means at that point. And
There
your
you
means
go.
should
There you go.
massive.
Yeah.
Your means are big too.
Your means are big. Your means are
Yeah,
not. You're
exactly.
podcasting in a 8x8 shed.
Yeah, exactly.
Precisely.
There's so many people
talking
that
about our
have
shit.
worked 30 years at a sawmill and retire comfortably.
Yes.
You've worked 30 years in public with a national radio show.
You can
and
be
you
conservative
can't retire.
and say you're a millionaire at least. I don't.
I'm
if you're
confident in
not,
saying multi.
if you are not a multimillionaire, that's on you, boo boo, not on us. And I'm sorry, you're not getting a lot of sympathy. And the reason I am passionate about this is that your audience is blue collar.
Yes.
All of your
Yeah.
audience, the vast majority, I'm not saying all, but the vast
Most, yeah.
majority of
Right.
your audience is blue collar. When you come on and say, man, yeah, we weren't going to get enough money and I can't retire. The blue collar guys are going, dude, I don't want to hear it. I work 60 hours a week, 65 hours a week, 40, 45 hours a week. I don't have enough money to pay for my insurance. I don't have enough money to pay for retirement. I'm just hoping the Lord provides. And you say, man, you won't ever guess it. I had to sell my second house and just move to my lake house.
Buddy. Again, not to.
I'm being very mean. Lord
No.
forgive me.
I'm with you too. Because again, I'm sorry. I'm your audience, like the rest of us. And again, I've been blessed. I'm not going to sit here and poor pitiful me and say that I'm living under a shack. But I currently work 2 jobs. Through the month of November, I'll be working 3. So I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it.
We should all be thankful for what we have.
We should.
Because by
There we go.
comparison,
There you go.
Man, there's plenty of people that have less than we do. And I'm not, but here's the thing. I'm not complaining about what I don't have.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
I'm not perfect. I've been a jerk and I've been mean and I need God's grace.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, Will knows specifically how much grace I need. That being said, man, when you are on this national stage and doing a little bit of poor mouthing, to me, it's not a good look.
It's not a good look. And again, and we'll wrap this up with, it's really pretty simple. There's not anything scandalous going on. And I hope and I pray, because I don't want it to come off as we're taking a side. And I know we spoke critically of Bubba a little bit.
I can speak critically about Rick too.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, he's not perfect either.
He's not perfect either. Yeah. And
None of us are.
none of us are. I don't want to come off at, well, Will shrugged.
No.
We all turn into Italians.
I don't want to come off as if we're trying to be shocking or hating or super critical. This comes from a place of, I genuinely have been influenced by these 2 people so much, and I respect them, and they both proclaim and have lived a life that shows that they are followers and believers in Christ. And I hope they resolve this and squash this. I hope they are, at the end of the day, they get to better terms. And again, and I'm not saying they're mortal enemies now, but it's obvious there is friction there. And I hope they get that squashed.
And
So-
have us on as guests on their respective podcasts.
Exactly. I hope this blows up, and I will go on both their podcasts.
I have,
Go ahead.
No, I just have, because like Will said, we're like South Park and or VeggieTales.
And or VeggieTales.
And we always have a lesson at the
What's
end.
the lesson at the end?
I have I have a little bit of just a few verses, if you don't mind me reading them.
Do it.
This comes from Ephesians chapter 4, verse 25, and I'm reading out of the ESV. Therefore, having put away falsehood, let each one of you speak the truth with his neighbor, for we are members one of another. Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger, and give no opportunity to the devil. Let the thief no longer steal, but rather let him labor, doing honest work with his hands, so that he may have something to share with anyone in need. Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouth, but only such as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear. And do not grieve the Holy Spirit of God, by whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. Let all bitterness, wrath, and anger, and clamor, and slander be put away from you, along with all malice. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. And then the first 2 verses of chapter 5, therefore, Be imitators of God as beloved children, and walk in love as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us as a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God.
Amen.
Man, that don't take no PhD to understand
No.
that, does it?
Amen.
Mighty fine.
Amen. Well, again, that about wraps it up. We hope you've enjoyed this. I hope we've... You know, do you ever sit there and wonder, it's like me. I missed it again. Did you ever miss me? I wonder, like, our goal is to clear the water on some things. I wonder if we just muddy it up. Or are we doing any good?
Hello? Is it me you're looking for?
Oh, thanks again, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Please give us a like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for your support. I'm Turner. I'm joined by Chris, Will, and Bailey, and this has been the Lost in Studio Podcast. Woo-hoo.